Build professional skills this semester with Adobe Creative Cloud and create standout work both in and out of the classroom. Save big on professional creativity tools. Students get 65% off Adobe Creative Cloud, including Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere Pro, Acrobat Pro, and 20+ creative apps. No matter what project you're working on, Adobe Creative Cloud apps can help you take it to the next level. Visit adobe.com/student to learn more.
It's The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
This is The Other Side of Midnight. I'm Frank Morano, and this is a special treat for me because not only do I get to interview someone that is a personal favorite of mine, not only someone who has the kind of diversity in her roles as a performer that most actors can only dream of. She's been the wife of Columbo. She's been the captain of a starship on Star Trek. She's been the girlfriend of Sam Malone on Cheers. And in a personal favorite of my wife, she's had an iconic role on Orange is the New Black, running a prison kitchen. But the more you get to learn about Kate Mulgrew, the more you learn that she's as interesting or more interesting than any of the characters she's played. Second of 8 children. Imagine that. Best-selling author, one of the most sought-after voiceover artists in the world, and if that weren't enough, she also happens to be a warrior for Alzheimer's disease, and she's now starring in the North American premiere of The Beacon at the Irish Repertory Theater in New York. It is my great pleasure to welcome back to the radio the one, the only, Kate Mulgrew. Kate, thanks so much for joining me on the radio.
Oh, I'm thanking you for that gorgeous intro. Can you do it all over again? Can you just do it? Keep doing it.
Well, if you as a stage actor, if you can keep doing the same lines over and over again, it's no great shakes for me to go and introduce you every day.
That's the comparison. All right. And that's the trick, Frank, to make those lines new each night. And twice on Wednesday, twice on Saturday. But it's easy because this play, which was written by Nancy Harris, is an Irish play, meaning there will be no tying up with in ribbons any storylines. Everything is left to both the imagination and the intelligence and the discernment of the audience, because the Irish don't pander. They tell a tale, they weave a dark tale, and they know that they're going to be provoking you. They know that they're going to be asking some very difficult and complex internal questions. And they know that there will be a conversation when the play is over. And in this particular case with The Beacon, there have been so many conversations and so many questions and so much animated conversation after people have seen this play that I'm absolutely thrilled to say that the legitimate theater is alive and well in New York.
That's outstanding. We're talking with Kate Mulgrew about The Beacon. If you're interested in getting tickets, you can go to irishrep.org or just call up the Irish Repertory Theater. You've done, I don't want to, give away your age, but you've done almost 50 years worth of television, film, and stage credits. I would think those are very different disciplines as an actor. Do you have a preference in terms of stage versus screen?
Oh, it's such a hard question, Frank. And any way I answer it, I'm going to be held accountable.
Well, we ask the tough questions here, Kate. Come on.
It's a tough question, this one is, but I like your intelligence, so I'm going to go for it. I would say, Frank, not to put too fine a point on it, indeed, I've been at this for 50 years. Theater was my great love, and what drew me in the first place when I was just a kid, when I was a young girl, and went professional at 19 years of age. It was the theater that I found so compelling. And I still do, obviously. I'm on this stage every night at the Irish Rep doing this rather difficult and complicated play. But having said that, I will tell you quite honestly that as I age, I more and more enjoy working with the camera. It's got a slight cushion to it. I think if I'm being honest, that's because you get to have multiple takes if you wish to have them. Mm-hmm. Your performance is not written in blood, but in the theater it is. When you walk out on the stage, that's it. It's you and the audience, and you're responsible for absolutely every moment then of that performance. And so there can be no phoning it in. There can be no tiredness, no laziness. There's a rigor to the theater that I love. And there's an ease to camera work that I love. So let's split it right down the middle and say I love them equally now.
I tell you, you missed your calling. You should have been a diplomat, Kate. That's outstanding.
No, I'm not a diplomat. I'm many things, Frank, but diplomacy, no.
The last time we spoke was about 5 years ago. I spoke to you about your book, How to Forget, A Daughter's Memoir, which is a terrific book. And I went back and looked at my notes from our discussion at the time. And I made a note when I had read the book back then about how raw and emotional the book was and the manner in which you told the story. Even something as simple as your father telling you to pour vodka was told in a very dramatic way. And I don't think I asked you this at the time, so I'll ask you now. Did your acting training help you in the manner in which you told that story, or did the emotions, the very raw, very real emotions that you uncovered writing about this kind of thing with your dad, did that help you at all get in touch with your emotions on screen or on stage as an actor?
No. I've thought about this enough to answer quickly. No. Two entirely different muscles, two entirely different sensibilities. The writing is completely removed from the well that I dip into when I'm acting. It's much more insular, as I'm sure you could appreciate. It's an isolated effort. And given the isolation, it's probably a bit more harrowing. It's also more demanding because the discipline's on me. So I'm holding myself accountable every time I write a sentence. But when I'm acting, I'm tapping into my real experience. That's true, and I do that when I'm writing. But in acting, it's very different because the necessary thing when you're acting is to share it with the audience. When you're writing, it seems to be very, very private. And so I feel like I'm sharing secrets when I'm writing, although I know it's going to go public. Every paragraph writing about the vodka, the final vodka I poured for my father before he died. I mean, it's intense, intensely lonely, kind of a haunting thing. So I have to find the correct words. I have to compose the right sentence. But they're entirely different muscles. I think anybody who acts and writes will say that.
At 30 minutes after the hour, you're listening to The Other Side of Midnight. My guest is the one and only Kate Mulgrew. She's starring in The Beacon at the Irish Repertory Theatre in New York. So, Kate, The Beacon centers around a tragic accident and a family seeking answers. What attracted you to the role of Babe, and how do you approach playing a character with such a shadowy, complex past?
I'm attracted to darkness. I'm Irish. I'm Irish-American, but I'm largely Irish. And I just go for that kind of, harrowing, I suppose, truth that lies at the bottom of a character like Babe Scanlon. There's a truth rattling around in her heart, which she has kept frozen in her blood. And now it's leaking out in this play. And she's leaking it because of her son, who has come back with his young bride, startling Babe. And you can't really figure out their relationship at first. It seems combative. It seems adversarial. But if you watch and listen closely, you see that there has been a sacrifice made here of unfathomable, I think, depths. Babe is suffering, just as her son Colm is suffering, but they never admit to it. It's all through teasing and banter and wit. There's some show of passion, but mostly it's this exchange of ideas and of desires. And what Babe is holding close to her, the secret that she's holding, is so difficult to grasp that she withholds it from her son until she can no longer afford to do so, until it becomes almost a gift. But in giving a gift of this singularity, she risks, I think, a great cost to herself. So what you're going to see on the stage in this play is a story of love that could never really be fully appreciated, a story of desire that is never fully fulfilled, and a story of an ancient kind of pagan longing to belong on a small island off the coast of West Cork, and to apologize to no one and to explain my actions to no one. She's a terrific character, but she's complex.
Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
Clorox Sentiva smells like lavender. Cleans like Clorox. And feels like...
All right, that could go on for a while. Experience the long-lasting freshness of Clorox Sentiva. Available in Clorox Sentiva Lavender Scented Bleach. Use as directed.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Healthcare professionals can lead their careers with LinkedIn. Discover jobs by specialty, preferred shifts, and even desired salary. From mental health therapists to radiology technicians, it's now faster and easier for healthcare professionals to find the right fit. Learn more at linkedin.com/healthcare. Side effects may include faster job placement, improved work-life balance, and increased career satisfaction.
Impact confirmed. The Slayer has been activated.
Demonic threat level increasing.
Hold the line!
All the power of hell cowering before one man.
id Software presents Doom, The Dark Ages. Available now on Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, and PC.
Rated M for mature.
It sounds great. I can't wait to see this play.
Do come and see it, and you'll see a fine female playwright at her best.
Certainly sounds that way. So the play takes place, as you just alluded to, in a secluded cottage on an island. How does that isolated setting influence the dynamics between the characters? And do you find the atmosphere lends itself to the tension that's in the story?
Oh, such a good question. And probably the most pertinent one. It's exactly another character in this play, if not the largest character in this play. We're actually on the island of Shirkin, which is just off the coast of Cork, southwest Ireland. So gloriously beautiful, Frank, because I've been there. Almost inexpressibly beautiful. For my soul, the loneliest and most provocative, evocative place on earth. And it looms over the play because we're in my cottage, which is made of glass. Babe has torn it down. She's asked her friend Donald to help her rebuild it. And it will be all glass so that everybody can see not only Babe, but Babe's supposed secrets, what she's hiding, what she's withholding. She's saying, no, nothing. Come on in, take a look. So we see the sea out the back. We see the sky up above. And the great Colin McNally, who did the sets and the lighting, has done marvelous things with video on the back screen. So at no point in this story are you alone. The weather, Ireland, which is all about the weather, looms large, and it's powerful in this play.
Babe is an artist who's both secluded and scrutinized by those around her. As a public figure yourself, do you find any sort of personal resonance with Babe's journey, particularly regarding privacy and maybe even public perception?
Well, of course I do, which is why I took it. I knew it was going to be hard. And it's not a dip. You're not going for a dip, Frank. You're going for a deep, deep dive here. And she has to reside within me to an extent, or it would be an almost impossible effort. She is largely in me. I happen to love isolation, love and loathe it in equal measure, as does Babe. There are many things about our own selves, Babe and Kate Mulgrew, that we don't understand, that are worked out through our art and through our isolation. There's a lot of questioning going on here of motive. There's a great questioning here of love. And those are questions in my life that are now pulsating as I approach an age where I would like to have, some grasp of wisdom in this life before I depart. And that's what I think. Babe is there. Kate is there. We're on a cliff looking out over the ocean on this little island.
It sounds to me like you're doing okay in the wisdom department. So I think
Thank you for that.
Well on your
I'm
way.
not sure about that, Frank. Let me ask you just this quick question to you, because you ask such good questions. Have you gained wisdom over time?
Honestly, I have been constantly in search of wisdom, but in some ways, I feel like I have less of an understanding of all the important things in life the older that I get. I'd like to think so, but I feel as if maybe some days I'm farther back than ever.
Well, that's true, because we're animals and we're driven mostly by our instincts and our emotions. So we have to eat and we have to love and we have to kiss and we have to do all that stuff. But I think the getting of wisdom is a much, much more difficult thing. And I think that that's exactly where you find me in Babe in this play at this juncture in my life, which is why I took it, to find out if I could go there and go there the way I need to go there as an actor, which is holy. I don't hold back, Frank. There's no point. I mean, I'm 69 years old. Why would I hold back in this performance? It may be one of the last times I'm on the stage. Who knows? So I'm giving it everything I've got. It's full throttle, deep into the darkness of this woman and into her light. Because through the darkness, you will find the light. And that's the beauty of this great Irish play.
If people want to check it out, it is running through November 24th at the Irish Repertory Theater. Tickets are available at irishrep.org. Kate, I know you've been very generous with your time, but let me keep you 2 more minutes if I can. You've spoken before about the influence of your mother on your career. As you take on the role of someone like Babe, a mother estranged from her son, how do your personal experiences shape your portrayal of mother-child dynamics?
To an extent. I was never as brave as Babe, nor as honest as Babe. She takes no prisoners, and she withholds nothing from her son, including how she's feeling about him, how she's really feeling about this young bride that he brings and the money that he's into in San Francisco. And she's testing him as she tests herself. She's a rigorous creature and a tough one. And at the bottom, you find out how very deep it goes in Babe Scanlon, what she's capable of. My relationship with my mother was far more loving. It was softer. Although it had that arrow to it, my mother made, very little to do about what she expected me to do in the world. She wanted me to leave the home and go out into the world and become an artist. She was very, very firm about that. Don't waste your time in anything but art. Art is the gift of life. And my mother was a painter, so of course she was speaking about herself as well. But she launched me, and I thank her, because she launched me ultimately into somebody, to stumble into somebody like Babe Scanlon. So that's the greatness of having had my mother and Nancy Harris in my life.
Kate, while I have you here, I can't avoid asking you about Star Trek Voyager, and I'm sure you get asked about it every day and have for the last 30 years, but I'm a Star Trek fanatic, as is the owner of our radio station, John Katzimatidis. Talk to me about what Star Trek is like as an actor. I've had some conversations with William Shatner about this, and it seems like Star Trek can be sort of a double-edged sword in that you're able to work forever, but in some respects it can be difficult to outrun that character and have opportunities to do different things. How have you found your relationship with Star Trek over the last 30 years?
Well, I'd say, you're sort of dead on. It's an iconic role, the first female captain of a starship. My heavens, it was, overwhelming. But it was also absolutely great. I didn't understand at the time how tough it was going to be to sort of overcome the stereotyping. Captain Janeway is huge, and that will be the headline on my obituary if anybody cares to compose one. And I think at the same time I was aware of that. I accepted that, and I fully endorsed my feeling for that by giving Janeway everything I had. Now, has she tagged on in my life? Absolutely. But then I've had great luck. I got the part of Galina Reznikov on Orange is the New Black, which absolutely broke any association imaginatively with Janeway in the audience's mind. So I said to my representatives, that's the role. I need to play that role. That will take me into a new place. And it did. First of all, it took me into character work, very good character work. And it was a very good way to say goodbye to Janeway, salute Janeway, and use Janeway as I wish to as the years unfold. And that's what she's become. That was luck, Frank. Make no mistake about it. Janeway was pure luck.
Because we're on late at night, we actually happen to have quite a few listeners in prison, both male and female. And
That's
Orange
right.
is the New Black. You know, it's a cultural phenomenon. That's my wife's favorite role that you've ever had is Red on Orange is the New Black. Is
Right.
there a favorite behind the scenes story from your time on that set, Orange is the New Black?
Behind the scenes, so many stories behind the scenes. But I think the story I like to tell is less behind the scenes than how I got it, which was everybody had to audition. Genji Cohen was brand new at this. This was Netflix new in the day. House of Cards was just being done. So we were neck and neck with this thing called streaming. And everybody had to go in and audition, and they gave me a tiny piece of paper, and they said, and just lightly touch the Russian, because we don't really want her to be too Russian. And I sat down in front of the camera, and I started this little monologue. And what came out was this fully formed creature with a thick Russian accent, and most of Red's features intact there. And they just looked at me, and it was as if everyone discovered Red at the same moment. And I was hired almost immediately. And the rest, as they say, is history. I sort of wish it could have gone on a bit longer, but Genji wanted to go out like a star.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Kate Mulgrew, it is always a treat to talk with you. Thank you so much for taking the time. Best of luck with The Beacon. I hope people check it out. I'm going to check it out. If folks want to get tickets again, they can. They have until mid-November. They can go to irishrep.org. Thank you so much, Kate.
Thanks a lot, Frank. Wonderful to talk to you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. If you want to comment on any portion of our conversation, you're welcome to give me a call at 646-720-0635. That's 646-720-0635. This is The Other Side of Midnight. Straight ahead.